Here's a quick heads up on Nottingham. So if you're not familiar with it, it's their main city centre, just around where it says Nottingham, just there, and pretty much outside of it in every single direction is mostly residential. It's just a big cluster in here. Nottingham itself is actually quite small. There's only like 300,000 people that live there, but it's a very sort of like active place. A lot of people. There's a lot going off down there. If you One thing that Nottingham's got that is really good is its tram system, and as you can see, it sort of heads northwest and out, and it goes quite far north, linking a lot of the outer sort of suburbs to the city centre. As far as schools and that go, and the reason why people would live in and around the outskirts are there's no sort of stopping. There's no shortage of schools. So as far as everything goes, it's pretty interlinked, and it's very livable. If we The area that I like and the area that I know really well is NG7, which is this being the city centre again, where it says Nottingham, and then this is the tram line that just pushes up through Highsome Green and then heads up further north. I've done a search for places up to 120 grand for 2 beds, and you do get a lot of flats, but you do also get a lot of old Victorian housing, especially around the Forest Fields area. This is a ginormous park, and they have like festivals there and all sorts of stuff, and it's a really good place to live in and around there. The tram stop here is only 2 stops to the centre, and that is a ginormous park and ride. So a lot of people use this area for commuting. Where it says Highsome Green there, that's a ginormous Asda, and my flat is where I live is in the cluster of these ones just here, and it's a hoofing place to live. You get so many people want to live there, and it's never been a problem to rent out. So if you click through some of the properties using the tram line as like the spine to go off and looking around, you can see what we're looking at just as a rough sort of guide for 2 to 3 bed properties. I'm just going to click through a few of them. So 115, Victorian one, 95, that's a little bit smaller, and then that again is the same as the last one. You know, you're sort of seeing not around the 100 grand mark, you're getting 2 bed places that are in relatively good nick. And then if you come down to these flats, which we'll go into later, they're a very appealing sort of price. Um, if you click through in some of these properties, this one here with a nice kitchen, 100 grand, that's actually been reduced, and it's been on the market for a little while now, so 3 months. But you can see this, it's pretty much good to go. I don't like laminate flooring like that, but it's pretty much good to go. And what you will notice is it's empty. And if it's been on sale since March, this person might be a little bit flapping trying to get it sold. That garden, you know, I probably want to do something about that. But 100 grand gets you that. This one's lived in quite a lot, as you can probably tell. But yeah, probably want to do something about that. But as far as things go, you're getting a semi-detached sort of place, quite residential, quite nice, and I think that's a good value for money there. So onto the flats, 85 grand. I bought one in this block like 5 years ago for 75 grand or something like that, and I'm surprised to see them at this price. This has been reduced. This is on the top floor, but you see from the let's go through the flats. It's open planned, and all of this is gated parking in there. So this is all like the kitchen's just on the right there. It's got 2 bedrooms and quite a big sized bathroom. Considering it's only a 2 bed, you get a 4 piece bathroom, and I think with that, you spend a grand carpet in it, new worktops, new kitchen, new hob, and then decorate throughout, and then maybe about a grand to tile the bathroom and change the taps, and maybe the surround for the shower. But looking at an injective sort of 2.5 grand into that once you bought it, and that would be pristine, good to go. This one is in the same block, but this is the new ones that they just put in the roof. So this, no, it's not. I'm telling a lie. This one's further down the road, on the way into town. It's halfway into town. So 120 grand, and this is quite pristine sort of place. It's got a gas combi there. It's another thing to consider when you're a landlord. A bit of a nose with gas, but as you can tell, it's slick and it's empty. Out of all of them properties there, only one of them looks like it's lived in. And this one's for auction at 73 grand. If you could get that for 73 grand, that would be amazing. I think that these are renting out. I've got one of these at the moment, renting out for 600 a month, and that is due to go up. That's cheap. So you can see the yield that you're going to be getting. sort of 7,200 a year. I think that's very achievable, and these are desirable. The location is spot on, so they are good to go. Right, they're only good to go if it'll rent. So what's it saying on the rental market? So for the same search, 2 bed, minimum of 500 upwards in the same area. We've got nice little scattering of these. So the area of interest again, Forest Fields and this main supply route with the trams. So Coronation Street Salter houses, 2 beds, 600 a month. You know, they're worth like 90 grand if you remember from the one before in All Right Nick. Spend a bit of money on it. There again, 590. We're touching the 600 mark. If we move up a little bit into Baseford, right flats. Let's not worry too much about that. What have we got here? Yeah, apartments. Okay, and that's a spot on that one. So it's a bit expensive, but as you can tell, you've got sort of looking at like 600 for a 2 bed place. It costing less than 100 grand. So here's one for an example. If you just look at the quality, so small house, 600, parking out front. You don't need a license. Very small, but you know they've made a token effort just to make that presentable for anyone. So it's pretty much ready to move into. Yep, happy with that. Pretty bog standard vanilla lat. That's a nice bathroom actually, and very easy to maintain garden. Sweet. And why's this one not loading? Okay, there you go. Well, laminate throughout. Very basic sort of layout. It's quite popular around that area. There's a lot of people live there. Big sort of like Asian community and lots of foreigners in Forest Fields, which is not a bad thing. But they tend to have big families in these properties. So I think there's a lot of drive for people to want to live around that area.